All right, today we're going to build something really powerful, a blueprint. A blueprint for teaching yourself, well, pretty much anything. And no, this isn't about some kind of magic trick or being born a genius. It's all about having a solid strategic plan for learning that actually works. So let's jump right in.
You know that feeling, right? You get super excited to learn something new. Maybe it's a language or an instrument or some coding skill. And at first, it's great. But then you just hit a wall. You feel completely stuck, totally overwhelmed, and that little voice in your head starts whispering, "See, I'm just not good at this." But here's the thing. What if the problem isn't you at all? What if it's just your approach?
Okay, so here's the big idea we're going to unpack. When you look at someone who successfully learns a new skill versus someone who just gives up, what's the real difference? It's almost never about raw talent or how smart they are. Nope. It all comes down to their strategy. It's about whether or not they have a plan.
Think about it like this. Imagine someone starting a business, right? They're running on pure excitement, throwing all their money into it based on a gut feeling, but with zero research, zero plan. What happens? Total failure, almost every time. Now, picture a different scenario. Someone who wants to learn guitar. They don't just buy the fanciest one. They methodically set aside time every day. They find free lessons online to learn the fundamentals, and they practice even when it's tough. And guess what? They actually learn to play.
See the difference? In both of those stories, the key to success wasn't just having a goal. It was the process. It was the structured plan they followed. It's not about the what, it's about the how. It's about having that blueprint to guide you. And yeah, that's exactly what we're here to build together today.
Okay, but before we can lay down the foundation for our blueprint, we've got to do a little demolition. We need to clear out some of the junk that's getting in the way. See, a lot of us are held back by these really powerful, really calming myths about learning. And honestly, these false beliefs can stop you dead in your tracks before you even begin.
All right, let's start with the big one, the myth of innate talent. You know this one. It's the idea that to learn anything really complex, you have to be born with some special gift, some kind of genius-level IQ. It's that nagging voice that tells you, hey, some people just get this stuff. And you're not one of them. Well, let me tell you, the research is crystal clear. That's just flat out wrong. The single biggest difference maker isn't talent, it's your mindset. It's whether you have what's called a growth mindset, which is just the simple, powerful belief that you can get better at something through dedication and hard work. That belief right there is a way bigger predictor of success than anything else. Okay, next up, the myth of learning styles. Oh man, this one is everywhere. I'm sure you've said it or at least heard it. Oh, I'm a visual learner, or I'm more of a hands-on kinesthetic learner. The whole idea is that each of us is wired to learn in one specific preferred way. Guess what? Study after study after study has debunked this. It's just not true. It turns out the best learning method has nothing to do with you and everything to do with the material. I mean, think about it. You can't learn to play basketball by reading a book. You got to get on the court. And you can't learn the nuances of French history just by looking at pictures. The learning method has to fit the subject, not the person. And then there's the big, scary one, the 10,000-hour rule. This idea has probably stopped more people from starting new things than anything else. It's just so intimidating, right? I mean, who has 10,000 hours lying around to master a new hobby? It feels impossible before you even start. But here's the secret. That rule isn't exactly false, it's just incomplete. It's missing the most important piece of the puzzle. It's not about the quantity of hours, it's about the quality of your practice. Seriously, 1 hour of focused practice where you're getting feedback and correcting your mistakes is worth way more than 10 hours of just mindlessly fumbling around on your own. It's all about working smarter, not just longer. All right, the demolition is done, the myths are busted, now we can finally start building. The good news is, all the research points to a really straightforward but incredibly powerful framework, a 4-pillar blueprint. This is the real core of our strategy. So here they are, the 4 pillars: transform, combine, test, and space. Each one is an action. It's a specific thing you do to turn something you just read into something you actually know deep down.
So let's break down what each of these really means.
Pillar number 1 is to transform. This is huge. It means you can't just be a passive consumer of information, just reading a page or highlighting a sentence. To really learn it, you have to actively process it. You got to put it into your own words. A great way to do this, try summarizing an entire chapter in just one sentence. The whole point is to take that raw info and make it completely yours. Okay, pillar number 2 is to combine. This is all about connecting new stuff to old stuff. See, our brains don't learn in a vacuum. They learn by latching new ideas onto things we already understand. The magic phrase you're looking for in your head is, "Oh, so it's just like when." The moment you say that, you're building a solid bridge for that new knowledge to cross. Here's a perfect example. Let's say you're trying to learn how the U.S. legislative process works. I mean, it's super abstract with bills and committees and votes. It's a headache. But what if you compare it to baking a cake? All of a sudden, it clicks. A bill is just the recipe. The congressional committees, that's the mixing bowl where you put all the ingredients together. And the final vote, that's putting the cake in the oven to bake. See? You just made something totally abstract feel concrete and familiar.
Pillar 3, self-testing. Now, this one can feel a little backwards, I know. We're taught that learning is all about shoving information into our brains. But the real magic, the actual learning, happens when you force your brain to pull that information out. You know that little moment of struggle when you're trying to remember a name or a date without looking at your notes? That's not you failing. That's the feeling of your brain forging a stronger connection. That's the good stuff. And that leads us perfectly to our 4th and final pillar, which is honestly the one most people forget: giving your brain some space. Think about it like this. You would never go to the gym and try to lift weights for 10 hours straight, right? Of course not. You know your muscles need time to rest and recover so they can grow stronger. Well, guess what? Your brain is a muscle. It works the exact same way. Here's why. Your mental energy is kind of a trade-off between 3 things: how intense your studying is, how often you do it, and for how long. And here's the rule. You can pick 2 to go hard on, but you can't max out all 3. So sure, you can have super intense study sessions really frequently, but they have to be short. Or you could have a really long study session, but it can't be that intense or frequent. If you try to do all 3 at once, that's just a one-way ticket to burnout. So there you have it. We've cleared out the myths that were holding you back, and we've laid out the 4 solid pillars of a real learning plan. The question for you is no longer, how do I even learn this? The question now is, what do I want to learn? The blueprint is yours. Now it's your turn to start building. So let's just do a quick recap. Your personal learning blueprint. Number 1, transform the information. Put it in your own words. Number 2, combine it. Link it to something you already get. Number 3, test yourself. Force your brain to pull the info out. And number 4, rest. Give your brain the space and the energy it needs to actually absorb everything. That's the whole plan. Simple, right? The tools are officially in your hands now. You have a proven, powerful, strategic plan that can help you teach yourself literally anything you want. So the only question left is the big one. You have the blueprint. What are you going to build first?